Hello folks, I hope that you're having just a great and safe day today. Today I'll take a look at the third and middle novel in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy trilogy. It's the sequel to The Restaurant at the End of the Universe, which was itself a sequel to the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And so today what I want to do for you is review it and my take on it and what I overall think of it. Douglas Adams was a popular writer for Doctor Who. A couple other things too. This series puts him on the science fiction map in a major way, and so I want to do the whole series. I've been doing this every other week for you on Sundays, and so this is going to be the week 3. I'm going to finish up the series. I just finished the series actually a couple of days ago, so I'm going to be, and I now know that I'm going to be reviewing it. Now I read this book only once, but I've tried to read it twice. When I was in college, I read the first book, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, very quickly, and then I read The Restaurant at the End of the Universe, which very quickly too, which I liked too. And then I started this and got about 3 or 4 chapters into it before I realized that I just wasn't a big fan of it. It read choppy. I didn't like some of the things that it did to it as a novel. So after a few chapters into it, I just dropped it and I set it down, and I never came back to it. And I gave it back to my friend whom I had borrowed it from. But I bought the series. I wanted to go back to it, and so I've gone back into it. I've read Hitchhiker's Guide. That was the 3rd time I read it. I read The Restaurant at the End of the Universe. That's the 2nd time I've read this. And I wanted to try to take out Life, the Universe, and Everything, the 3rd book in the series. And this time I got through it. Got through it in 4 days. So we'll take a look at it, the reasons why I like it, the reasons why I don't like it, and so forth. Now, if you'll recall from my earlier reviews of the first 2 books in the series, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, I said, was a strong book. I think it sometimes can sacrifice some plot and character development for jokes. It's world building or universe building, if you will. It's oftentimes done for the purpose of jokes. It doesn't have strong character development. I then mentioned in my review of this that over in Restaurant at the End of the Universe, this is my favorite book in the series. It's a stronger novel, stronger series. It has fewer jokes, but it's a better story, more character development, a better plot, and so forth. And this book actually feels, and these 2 books together, the first 2 books of the series feel like a duology rather than a full trilogy. The 2nd book picks up from where the 1st book left off. It has a satisfactory conclusion to the story, and you can be very satisfied if you just read the first 2 books. You don't even need to pick up the 3rd book. And so the 3rd book, in order to work alongside the first 2, it has to create a new storyline. And that storyline is based around the planet called Krikkit. Planet of Krikkit is back in the ancient past of the universe. The people on Krikkit had a ship crash land into their planet. And then after that had happened, they realized that they were not alone in the universe. So they turned their attention towards the rest of the universe, and they basically declared war against all the rest of the universe outside of Krikkit all at the same time. And after a war that takes more than 2,000 years, the universe finally wins, but only at a cost of a lot. So this judge rules that the planet of Krikkit will be surrounded by an envelope of slo-mo time that will slow time on the Krikkits, and then once that envelope of time will not be able to sustain itself after everybody else has died out, they'll be alone in the universe, which is exactly what they want after everybody else has died at the end of the universe. So that is the key conflict then is around the planet of Krikkit, and Krikkit and its robots, little white robots, are trying to break out of its slo-mo time envelope. So that is the essential struggle, is these followers of Krikkit that are trying to invade time in a variety of different places and times around the universe in order to assemble the various components that it needs to break out of the slo-mo time envelope, and thus release Krikkit and its people upon the universe. And that's the key sort of central conflict. This is not a conflict, this is not a planet, this is not something that had been introduced in a previous story. It stands on its own as a separate novel, and therefore it's not the worst plot line ever? Well, it's a jokey plot line because obviously Krikkit is based on the game Krikkit, and you have to, there's like a celestial wicket, and like the key to the envelope is this big giant celestial wicket, and it's got, you know, the silver balls and the silver bell and the golden. It's all of the components of it are parts of Krikkit. So there's a central joke. That joke, in my opinion, wears itself thin very quickly. But it's the entire storyline. I think that this book, again, goes back to having some issues with character development, with jokes at the expense of plot. It also has some weird plot things happening, too. For example, in the first 2 novels, we have 4 characters: Zaphod Beaglebrox, Trillium, Ford Prefect, and Arthur Dent as our 4 main characters of the story. Okay, so going into this book, book 3, 2 of those characters won't even show up until you're about 20% of the way through the book. Another character won't show up after they leave for about 100 pages, or maybe actually just a little bit more than 100 pages. They won't even show up. So there are long parts of time when we're not following our characters like we want to. And I don't like that. It also reads choppily. It took me a while to really slog through it. I had to do it kind of a chapter at a time, here and there, here and there, here and there. And it read very, very choppily. Overall, I'd give it a 6 out of 10. The central plot is fun, even if it does wear a little thin. There are some fun jokes in it that'll make you smile. I never actually laughed at the jokes. I laughed at jokes in the first 2 books, and the last 2 books. But there was never a joke in the 3rd book that I was like, oh my god, that was just hilarious. But I smiled at some times, so forth. I'm glad I got through it, and I'm glad I finished the series. The next book is amazing. And a big revelation, and I consider it to be a much, much stronger book than I was expecting. So I'm glad I got through Life, Universe, and everything, so I can then move on to the 4th book. The title of this book comes from a quote from the 1st novel, where the search for they know the answer to the life, universe, and everything, which is 42, but they're searching for what the question is because nobody understands the answer. And so there is a search for the question of what that is, life, the universe, and everything. So it's a quote from the 1st book. And in fact, all of the books, except for book 2, have a title that's a quote from the 1st book. So anyway, I'll go ahead. Have you read Life, the Universe, and Everything? What did you think of it? Did you agree or disagree with any of my comments? I am more than happy to engage you with them below, or if there's some plot spoilers, anything you want to talk about, I'm more than happy to do that with you below, in the comments below. And I want to thank you for watching my video. We all have so many things happening in our days and so many things that are conflicting for our time. So the fact that you spent this time with me is very humbling, and I really do appreciate that. And finally, if you like this video, please feel free to hit that subscribe button. There's going to be so many more classics of these that follows in science fiction, fantasy, and horror. Thanks so much for your time. You have a great, great day again.